And welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. You are listening and watching Let's Talk Nutrition, coast to coast and globally. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It's all good. You may not be a golf fan, and you may not like him, but Tiger Woods won the Masters over the weekend. Why would I even bring that up? Well, if you had a fused back, you were in your 40s, you hadn't won a major in 11 years, and then you do, that's pretty remarkable. He's had his personal and professional challenges over these past decade. And it was, I didn't get to watch it because I was involved in some work, but I wish I could have. They say it was amazing. The reports are that it was electric. The fans were insane. And, you know, people were pulling for him, and probably people that didn't even like him. And sometimes he can be dislikable. He can. I've always liked him. I think he's been a great athlete. And to overcome what he's had to really, I mean, serious health issues. I mean, I don't even know how he's playing. Some said he wouldn't be able to walk. For heaven's sake. And yesterday he wins the Masters against some very, from what I could see, outstanding athletes. So congratulations to him. That's a good story. I brought it up because you know what? We need to hear about people achieving, overcoming challenge, doing something that others and most say, oh, can't be done. Can't be done. It's something about the human spirit, right?
Yes.
I love that. I just love it.
You know, we were going to start doing segments about anything it takes, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. And boy, I don't know what got into him.
Well, you know, it's like those people that you see go out there and, you know, Boston Marathon was this morning. It's lightning, it's raining, it's storming, and they're running the marathon this morning.
You have any images of that you can show?
Yeah, I might be able to get it live.
We have the ability to show live feeds because we broadcast with a stream. That's how we get global. By the way, we get about 30,000 views a day on that stream. Amazing. So congratulations to him. I was so impressed. It made me feel good. I said, you know what? Yeah. And he's not a perfect person. Who is? He's a flawed guy. But, you know, my God, he didn't rob a bank. I don't know. We want heroes, and then we create a hero, and then we love to tear them down. I don't understand that. I don't get it. Never made any sense to me. I celebrate his achievement and his fortitude and his will. So good for him. 877-897-8255. 877-897-TALK. Gary's trying to find some live feed from the Boston Marathon. I suspect there will be people in that race today that have their own wonderful stories to tell. They were running a race that, you know, maybe they had cancer or maybe, you know, whatever. And they're running that race. I'll bet you there's some great human interest stories in that race today somewhere.
There's the live feed.
That's it?
Yep.
All right. Good job. That's the finish line. You went right to the finish line. That's good. Why don't you tell somebody how to call us or connect with us? That would be good. Right?
You can get us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK. You can also email Dr. Garko at his personal email, drgarko@letstalknutrition.com. You can find us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition. Share us, like us with your friends. Also on the Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition. And subscribe to our YouTube page where when we come live, you get a live link, an alert. And that's at Let's Talk Nutrition on YouTube. Look at that storm coming in, Doc.
Ooh, where is that?
That's in Boston.
And they're going to run that race in the lightning?
Yep.
They can't let them do that.
Whatever it takes. It's never been canceled in 123 years.
Lightning strike notwithstanding.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They can't do that. That's terrible weather. Look at that. Wow. Anyway, there's a story trending this morning. This, and I'm telling you as a researcher, sometimes I shake my head. I say, why did they do this study? You didn't need to do it. I could give you my phone number. You could have called me. I could have told you the answer. So these researchers at Penn State decided that they were going to see if you put food down in front of children, preschoolers, how much, and if it was an abundance of food, would they eat it? Would they overeat? Really? You don't know the answer to that question, boys? Come on now. In other words, they gave them bigger portions. One of the things about nutrition in my training now and in my coursework and a lot of emphasis on chemistry, I've taken the equivalent of 4 chemistry courses. A lot on, nutrition, metabolism, and, biology and physiology and anatomy. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Hardly anything about behavior. And nutritionists and dietitians would be better in medical, any healthcare provider, physicians, nurses, would be better served if they had better training in the behavioral, social, and behavioral sciences. That's the discipline from which I came.
But why do you say that?
Because this whole business about overweight and obesity, the obesity epidemic, they say diet and lifestyle. Lifestyle, both of those, diet and lifestyle, implicate behavior at every bend and turn. And they don't know a darn thing about behavior. They don't know much about the psychology of nutrition, the psychology of living, and the behaviors. How do you change behavior? To say to somebody, and you know this better than anybody, Gary, to say to somebody, you need to lose weight, because if you don't, and then you go down this long list of things that's going to happen to them, end of days, it translates. That's the least persuasive argument, the least persuasive thing that you could do. It has hardly any effect. And so I'm noticing that in my own training, all this emphasis on, and I get it, I'm all in 100%. The chemistry, the biology, the physiology, the pathology, I'm all there. I'm 100%. I'm thinking, where's the psychology? Where's the sociology? Where's the anthropology? It's a mistake. If you're a nutritionist and you have a practice and you're trying to, you have clients, you're going to be a better nutritionist if you can talk to them about their relationship with food from a behavioral and psychological point of view and show them how to change the behavior. I'm just saying. I'll come back. I'll tell you about this study with preschoolers and giving them too much to eat. Story trending. Researchers at Penn State, well-intentioned, I get it, I understand. They did this study with preschoolers. And I don't know they wanted to know if they served these kids larger portions, would they eat them? Seriously? They found that when served larger portions of typical meals or snacks, preschoolers consumed more food, both by weight and calories. I've been saying on this show, I'm on the record, you can find the tapes. They're everywhere. Whatever you put down in front of a human, that human will eat it. I don't care. That's just sort of how it works. In other words, what's available and what's present is what will be consumed. Now, that may sound insulting to some. Say, well, yeah, well. Preschoolers, they said, may not be as good at resisting large portions of everyday foods as was previously thought. I don't know where they even had it previously. Idea. Where did that come from? In this study, the Penn State researchers looked at whether these youngsters, these preschoolers between the ages of 3 and 5, were susceptible to portion size effect. The tendency of people, in other words, to eat more when larger portions are served. And what did they find? Oh, indeed, when they served these kids larger portions of food, whether it was a meal or a snack, they tended to eat more. Alyssa Smethers, she's a doctoral student in nutritional sciences. The study was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. She said that caregivers should pay close attention to not just the amount of food they serve, but also the variety of food. Right? Quote, it's hard to define portions that are appropriate for all preschoolers since their calorie requirements vary due to differences in height, weight, and activity levels, close quote. That's what Ms. Smethers said. She went on to say, but it is a good idea to look at the proportions of different foods you're serving, with fruits and vegetables filling up half the plate and with smaller portions of more calorie-dense foods as recommended by the USDA MyPlate Nutrition Guide, close quote. Well, yeah. There's a woman by the name of Barbara Rolls. I'm familiar with her work. And she's, along with Helen Guthrie, chair and director of the Laboratory for the Study of Human Ingest Behavior at Penn State, added that the results also suggest that the portion size effect can be used strategically by caregivers to help children eat more fruits and vegetables. And then they quote her. The positive side is that you can use the portion size effect strategically. For example, serving larger portions of fruits and vegetables to increase their consumption. She went on to say, you can also serve them at the start of the meal or on their own as snacks. When there are no foods competing with them, kids may be more likely to eat them. Well, close quote. I don't know if that's a good idea to serve fruits and vegetables before the meal. I don't think so.
Are they talking like a salad, maybe?
She's talking about the fruit, larger portions of fruit. I can see perhaps fruits and vegetables together. And maybe she does mean that. Maybe both before a meal. But why is it you have a meal? Why are you compartmentalizing like that? The fruits and vegetables are part of they are the meal. They are with the meal. They are not different. Is she talking about the entree? I don't know what she's talking about. I'm not sure. But, humans, again, nutritionists and dietitians need to know more about the social and behavioral aspects of human behavior, of human beings. You just do. And in my own training, it's woefully inadequate. There's hardly anything about that. Nothing. There should be courses on food and behavior. That would be a great course. And by the way, that relationship between food and behavior is a two-way street. Food affects mood, and mood affects food, if you want to put it that way. And it's a complicated relationship. And it's an important part of a person's relationship with food. What's going on in your head and how you've been conditioned behaviorally play a large role in what your destiny will be, your health destiny, and whether you will become overweight or obese or have an unhealthy relationship with food. And I find it's also curious, all these diets, weight loss diets, it's like forced compliance. You have to eat this way, and it's calorie restricted, and you're down to 1,000 calories a day, 1,200 a day. Anybody's going to lose weight, but it doesn't address the problem. How has that person been conditioned to have that relationship with food? What is going on with them psycho-emotionally in that relationship?
Don't be stressed out or anxious.
one of the things I haven't really, I should do a better job at, which is taking a look at the relationship between food and behavior and food and mood. Both and both of those two relationships, they are interdependent. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. There was this, it was an experiment. It wasn't earth-shattering. And what they, to illustrate the point that I'm trying to make about the relationship between food and behavior. It was a British study, and they had these children. They were 5 to 9 years of age, and they attended a party. This is an actual study. One group at the party of these youngsters was fed healthy options. They were given apple slices, carrot sticks, sandwiches, hummus, and water to drink. The other group received the usual food that you get at a party: candy, chips, soda, crisps, pop, sweets, all these foods loaded with artificial coloring, additives, and, of course, at the scene of the crime, sugar. So the children's ability to follow instruction, concentrate, and remember information was then measured as they played party games. This was an interesting experiment. And their actions were recorded. They videotaped them. This is what they found. I'm not making this up. You have the healthy food group, and then you have the party food group. Mean behavior. The healthy food group, 0 incidents at the party. The party food group, 69 incidents of mean behavior. Physical aggression. Healthy food group, there were 8 incidents at the party. With the party food group, 63. Hyperactive behaviors. Healthy food group, 30 episodes of that or incidents. Party food group of hyperactive behavior, 163. Total incidents of bad behavior for the healthy food group was 120, and for the kids who had the party food, 720. Now, that's just one little modest experiment to show how food affects mood and behavior. It also turns out that there is a body of work that looks at what's going on in your head and your relationship with food and what you're going to eat. One study after another. People who are depressed will often try to eat their way out of depression. People under stress, they're called stress eaters, will often try to somehow moderate these uncomfortable feelings with stress with food. It goes on and on, back and forth. And so in this study from Penn State, where I'm trying to make a point. The point is, where's the behavior? Where's the psychological aspect of the conversation when we're talking about nutrition? It's easy to say, well, it's diet and lifestyle. Lifestyle is constituted, and so is diet, and driven by behavior and by what's going on in your head, the psychology of it all, and the sociology, and the social, meaning the relational part. It gets, yeah. And that's why, and I think, in large measure, we have not done well with this obesity epidemic because we're not focusing on, understanding this more complicated. It's hard to get at. It's far more, once you throw in what I'm talking about, the behavioral and the psychological, now you have exponentially increased the difficulty of trying to resolve the problem. Well, you know what? That's just the way it goes. And to throw somebody on a crash diet, which is forced compliance, you're forcing them, you gotta eat this way, you gotta eat this way, you'll lose the weight, and they lose the weight, you did nothing to modify their behavior for the long term and their relationship with food. All you did was get them to lose some weight, which they're going to gain back, and they're going to revert back to that relationship. In the world of nutrition, they call it the set point. Nutritionists tend to explain it by saying, well, biologically, what happens is you have a set point. If at your maximum weight you were 230 pounds or 200 pounds, that's a set point. When you lose weight, biologically, nutritionists and dietitians and others will argue the body wants to go back to that weight because it thinks that's where it needs to be. That's a biological explanation. I'm not saying it's not valid, but where's the behavioral explanation? Where's the psychological, emotional part of it? So you take these kids, and again, I'll say it one more time, whatever you put down in front of humans, they will eat. Period. Full stop, 100%, end of story. And we see this all the time. I firmly believe that many people don't want to be eating this horrible processed food diet that we have in this country. But many are forced to eat it because that's all there is for them. And it's usually, and the more economically, socially, educationally deprived sectors of society. That's not to say that the wealthy don't eat crappy food. It is to say that, in some places, as I tell you all the time, there are food deserts. These kids don't even know what certain vegetables are. They show them pictures of them, and they don't know what it is, let alone they've never had one in their hand or in their mouth. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying that you, as nutritionists, as dietitians, medical doctors, nurses, any healthcare practitioner, you just need to know more about behavior, the social sciences and generally, the social and behavioral sciences. And I feel I have an advantage over some of my colleagues because they have no training in that area, none. They have an advantage over me because all their time was spent in the natural sciences. Well, you got to retool yourself. I'll be back. pardon me, talking about the connect. Well, the point I'm trying to make today here is that we would be better served if we understood more about not just the science of nutrition from a biological, chemical, pathophysiological point of view. You follow my drift? What's absent in what I just said is the social, the behavioral, the emotional aspects of our relationship with food. And this connection between food and mood is a very complicated one, no doubt. And it does introduce variables that make resolving, for example, the obesity epidemic more challenging. But I believe in the end would lead to a resolution, help lead to a resolution. We have studied in the social and behavioral sciences decades and hundreds of years, a couple hundred years here at least, right? About what goes on with us psychologically, emotionally, in relationship to one another, not only with ourselves, but with other humans. And there is now some attempt and effort, and has been for a while, to understand what's the relationship between our psychological makeup, social and behavioral makeup, and our relationship with food. There's now a phrase used in some scientists, they're called nutritional psychiatrists or nutritional psychiatry. Well, it's a specialty looking at this relationship. Let me give you, and I alluded to some of the connection here a moment ago. There was a study in 2014. It was called Brain Behavior and Immunity. And the sample for that study were nurses in the Nurses' Health Study, which is a famous study, to find some correlation between depression and diet. But diet rich in sugar-sweetened soft drinks, refined grains, and red meat. Right? There was also a study in 2018. It was a meta-analysis published in the European Journal of Nutrition that suggested that high consumption of meat was associated with the risk of developing depression. Now, some people may find that far-fetched and say you're just making it up. And, well, the data are what the data are, assuming that these are good studies. So there are all kinds of connections. I've just used those two studies as to be illustrative of what goes on out there in this body of work. They have found consistent evidence that a Mediterranean, for example, a Mediterranean-style diet that I've described on the show ad nauseum, and the risk of lowering depression. Now, you can believe that or not. I shared with you that little experiment, that British study with these kids, these preschoolers at a party. Well, one group was fed healthy food, the other was fed junk food. And I described the acting out behavior and the incidence of meanness and so on. And you heard what I had to say. I mean, it was stunning. And so what I'm trying to say to you is that if you're struggling with weight, for example, and a relationship with food, and sometimes people get confused. They say, I don't know why I continue to do these violations, to commit them over and over again. Well, because is it because I don't have any willpower? If that were just the problem, we could fix that. It's not just willpower. Your relationship with food is very complicated. And sometimes when a person tries to sort it out by him or herself, they don't do so well. That's why you have people dropping all kind of weight and then gaining it all back and forth, because the problem's not being addressed. You keep putting paint on the house thinking the termites will go away. No. You can paint over the damage. The termites are still there. You haven't resolved the problem. And so what I'm saying to you is you should not be so hard on yourself if you are having a hard time struggling with your relationship with food. It's a complicated one. Trust me. And if you go to a nutritionist or a dietitian and say, well, we're going to put you on a different diet. Okay, fine. All right, now what? Still haven't addressed the problem. You have to go back 2 or 3 more steps in the causal chain. And so when you're a nutritionist and you have a client, you take all kind of intake information, and you always have to ask about, describe your relationship with food. Try to get the client to talk about that if they're trying to lose weight. And it's amazing what they will tell you, what they will reveal. And you can see as they start to tell you the story, you can see in their eyes that, oh, I didn't realize that. They hear themselves saying it, maybe sometimes for the first time. And it's illuminating for them. It is an epiphany. Right? Gary's shaking his head.
Yeah.
You getting this?
Yes.
And they say, oh, I see. It's not just the craving of the food. Why are you craving that food that you know is going to be your demise? Would you sit there with a revolver with 1 bullet in the chamber and play Russian roulette all day? You know sooner or later that chamber's coming up. You wouldn't do that. But people do that with food. They play Russian roulette with food. Sooner or later, that bullet's going to be in the chamber. And you're going to fall prey, and you're going to end up in a bad way with your relationship with food. I'll come back. welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for starting off the week with us, and hope you had a wonderful weekend. And wherever and however you may be listening or watching this show somewhere on this planet, I want to tell you how much we appreciate it, everybody affiliated with the show. We take nothing and no one for granted with respect to this show. Now, we're flawed in many other ways, but in that way, we're not. For sure. And we are grateful for your viewer and listenership, all the affiliates that air this show into your neck of the broadcast woods. We are grateful to them, too. Absolutely. Support your local radio station that airs this show. We take radio for granted. We get up every day and we turn it on in the car. We turn it on in the house, and these radio stations are playing. They're on air. You know, and it's amazing that radio is alive and well. Just as many people listen to radio today. Well, we can also say watch it too, because they can. As ever before, all the sophisticated technology that we have has not taken it out of the game. That's amazing. It tells you something about how intriguing radio is. It's mediated communication. You know, you're not face to face with the person, but for some reason, we've always been attracted to radio as humans, right? We love that technology. Makes for a great companion. So it's remarkable. And then when TV came along, I remember this. Oh, radio's doomed. It's done. No. And then there are all these other technologies. Now we have all the social media. Oh, it's doomed. It's done. Nope. It has been able to adjust and adapt and survive. Thank goodness. Can you imagine what life would be without radio? Without a radio?
I can't, because this is one of the things I think is interesting with it. You get sports, you get news, you get entertainment, you get music, you get education.
Mm-hmm. And you can't see the person. Now you can, because we stream, like you're watching me right now.
But it's small enough to take anywhere with you. I mean, you can't take a laptop everywhere with you. You can't take an iPad.
Some people do.
You know?
I've seen them in, I'm surprised they don't take it in their shower. They do, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It has been, we just love radio around here. I guess you know why. As I opened the show in the last hour, I want to congratulate Tiger Woods for winning the Masters. Good for him. 11 years he hasn't won a major title. 11 years a major. And he won the Masters. Gary, check to see how many back surgeries he's had. I know he had a fusion. I mean, my memory serves me. I remember being reported. I could have hallucinated this. That there was some question about his ability to be able to walk if this got worse. And exactly what they did to his back to get him to be able to not just walk, but he's playing golf. He won the Masters.
Okay, so it started with in 94, he had left knee. He had surgery on his left knee, removed benign tumors, scar tissue. Surgery in 2002, left knee to remove fluid, inside and outside ACL. He had benign cyst from his left knee again. Misses the season. Ruptures the ACL on his left knee again. Keeps playing. 2 days after the Masters, has arthroscopic surgery on his left knee again. 2000 advised before U.S. Open that he has 2 stress fractures on the left tibia and should rest for 6 weeks. 2008, has surgery to repair the ACL. Injured in 2008 again, Achilles tendon on his right leg. 2009, hospitalized overnight for sore neck and cut lip. I don't know why.
That was the domestic issue. Go ahead.
Withdrew from the final round of the Players' Championship, citing a bulging disc.
Here we
neck
go.
issue.
Mm-hmm.
Tingling in his right side at first became a problem as he began practicing harder. Injures his left Achilles tendon hitting from an awkward stance below Eisenhower's tree. In 2011, withdrawals from players, diagnosed with an MCL sprain and his left Achilles tendon. 2012, tightness in left Achilles tendon again. Withdrawals. In 2012 again. Pain in his lower back, attributed to a soft mattress in his hotel.
Yeah, this is where it starts now.
Okay, 2013, shaking his left arm during the opening round.
Yep.
Elbow strain,
Mhm.
injured while playing. Misses 2 tournaments. Tightness is back again. Final round of the PGA Championship. 2 weeks after the PGA Championships, stiff neck, stiff back, attributed to soft bed in hotel again.
It's not the soft bed, buddy. Go
He
ahead.
dropped to his knees and shot. That's when he dropped to his knees after that shot with the back spasms.
Right.
2014.
He was in trouble then. I'm surprised nobody said, but go ahead.
2014, that's when he had the lower back pain and spasms again, and that's in March 2nd. Had to played the final 12 rounds with lower back pain again. He was hitting after the bunker. Withdrawals from the Arnold Palmer, persistent back pain again. Surgery for a pinched nerve in Utah, 2014. Underwent a microdiscectomy surgery on a disc fragment in 2015.
See, his spine he's got deterioration. Go ahead.
Fourth back surgery and spinal fusion, labeled a success this time.
Spinal fusion. Did they say what they fused? Did they mention the vertebrae in that piece you're reading? Yeah. So this is his 4th surgery now, right?
Yep.
And at the 4th surgery, they do a spinal fusion. Go ahead.
March 14th, withdrawals from the Arnold Palmer Invitational with a neck strain. And that's from the PGA.com page.
So it was that spine. He had 4 back surgeries. And the one that I think the last one you mentioned was a spinal fusion. See if you can find more about that spinal fusion.
Okay.
Now, you look at that medical history. Any other mere mortal would have given up about halfway through that. So all those people that hate Tiger Woods, for whatever reason you may hate him, right? You got to give the man props for, I mean, really? To be able to continue to do what he did, that is a testament to his will and his love for the game. And, he's in his 40s now. For him to win the Masters yesterday is short of miraculous. Quite frankly, I don't know how he did that. And I don't think most people don't know how he did it. And from all reports, I didn't get to watch it because I was preparing for 2 big exams and I didn't have time. My mind was somewhere else. They say that it was just exciting and electric. The fans were going crazy. It was something to behold. People love, we build people up, then we run them into the ditch, and then we see them come back out, and they're rooting for them again. We are a strange lot of critters.
It doesn't really go into what the surgery was.
I'll find it. I respect his ability and will to achieve. I mean, that's quite I didn't realize his medical history was that extensive. One injury after another, all related to that sport. Yeah, they say it's a nonviolent sport. The torque, the force on the knees, and that twisting when you're driving a ball. Oh, my God. Well, good for him. I'm happy for him. It made, that's the first thing I heard when I got up this morning. I turned on the news. Tiger Woods wins the Masters. I thought I was still dreaming. I said, what? Good for him. It inspired me. I don't know what it does for you, but it inspired me. The fact is that when I come to think it over, I find that there are 4 reasons for old age being thought unhappy. First, that it withdraws us from active employments. Second, that it enfeebles the body. Third, that it deprives us of nearly all physical pleasures. Fourth, that it is the next step to death. Now, that's a quote. Who do you think said that? It was Cicero. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. My liberal arts training coming through. Thank you to my professors. Cicero, the famous Roman philosopher, rhetorician, scholar, Cicero. That's how he thought of old age. I mean, that's a remarkable quote. People still think that. The fact is, when I come to think it over, I find that there are 4 reasons for old age to be thought unhappy. First, it withdraws us from active employments. In other words, we can't do all the things we used to do. You can't even be employed sometimes and do all the activities. Second, it enfeebles the body. Well, we know that. Third, that it deprives us of nearly all physical pleasures. It can. And fourth, it's the next step to death. Now, he lived over 2,000 years ago, Cicero did. But it seems to capture how lay people, and in fact, many health professionals and experts in one field or another alike, have how they feel about it over the centuries and even to this day. Think and feel about old age or the process of aging. Such a view of age or old age implies that aging is a pathogenic process, right? That it's some sort of disease-ridden process, leaving people in the depths of dread and despair, depression, dysfunction, culminating in death. How do you like that image that I wrote? When you look at this, the literature, the science on aging, a lot of it focuses on senescence. What is senescence? That's the process of growing older and showing the effects of advancing age. Senescence. And they select out those dimensions of aging which demonstrate decline, degeneration, and decrepitude. And the literature is replete with that narrative. That's the dominant narrative of aging in the culture, it seems to me. It's one that sees senescence and aging as inextricably connected. And it celebrates what? Youth and laments aging and old age. Should we not celebrate youth? Of course we should celebrate it. But why can't we celebrate those of advanced age as well, it seems to me? Make no mistake about it. In this culture, there is ageism, as there is sexism and other forms of discrimination. And there's many people that are listening and watching this show as I utter these words that know exactly what I'm talking about. The elderly who will experience ageism, who will be discriminated against sometimes in inconspicuous kind of ways, or in sometimes very obvious ways. And it's how we think about aging in this country that is disturbing. I've talked about this before. It was on my mind, and I thought I would just, we need to talk about it. No guest today. Dr. Ingram was going to be on, but he's up in Canada chasing down, I don't know, rare species of animals and stuff. I don't know what he's doing up there. Looking for herbs. He's amazing. I don't know why he works that hard, but he does. There's another narrative of aging that I thought I would share with you today. I think it's more optimistic. I think that it's achievable. And I think it's more healthy. And that's the narrative of successful aging. And I'm not writing about this, and I'm not speaking about it in the abstract. I'm going to be 75 years old this month on April 22nd. Now, you may be watching this show and you may be looking at me and saying, that's not true. It is true. God's been good to me. But I am not, this world of being on the other side of, having less life to live than you live is not something unfamiliar to me. So I speak from firsthand experience, and I have been discriminated against because of my age in ways that I won't even share with you on this air. And it's shameful. And it's not right. And we shouldn't do it. And we need to, and I don't know how this culture is going to change that. My little broadcast, as big as we think we are, is not going to have any appreciable impact on changing this culture and how it thinks about aging and how it treats the elderly. It's disgusting what we do, quite frankly. There are people listening and watching this show are having to make decisions about whether to pay for their prescription, to get their meds, or go grocery shopping. Why would we do that? Why would we put people in such a position? Go visit your local nursing homes. Take a walk around those places, and you walk out of there shaking your head, wanting to know how could we do this? I'm just saying. Come back. I'll tell you about successful aging. It's very optimistic. Back, welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in and stopping by today, whether you're listening or watching the show. Gary, how many people on the planet are 110 years of age or more?
A little bit over 100, but there's 7.5 billion people.
Okay. When it comes to aging, there's good news and bad news. First, the bad news. The biology of aging is still, in many ways, an unsolved mystery of science. In many ways, it is. And I can say that because until we figure out how to stop it, it's still a mystery to me. 2, death is a biological inevitability. There's not one person listening or watching this show, including myself, who's not going to die. We're all going to die. Period. Full stop. Lifespan is finite. There are no groups of people, none, who live to or beyond the expected maximum lifespan of 120 years of age. Nowhere on this planet. Never has been. And of the planet's 7.5 billion people, just a little better than 100 out of 7.5, listen to me, out of 7.5 billion, there's only about 100 or so that are 110 years of age or older. What does that tell you? I know what it tells me. It tells me that, aging is a biological process that it's nature's way of moderating the population of the planet. That's one way to look at it. Now, there's good news. We can alter life expectancy and maximum lifespan. We've done that. People are living longer. The average life expectancy is increasing, and people are living longer. We can postpone and, in some instances, even reverse some processes of biological aging. Disease, for the most part, is not genetically or pre-programmed. I said for the most part. There are some diseases that are genetically determined. And they're, as that guy says in the insurance commercial, nothing we can do about that. And about 7, I guess, depending on who you're reading, what you're watching or listening to, the source that you're considering, perhaps maybe 75% of aging is accounted for by diet and lifestyle choices that we make. Maybe the other 25% is genetics. Some have it up to maybe 40% genetics, 60% diet and lifestyle. It goes back and forth. And honestly, genetics loads the gun. That's true. But lifestyle pulls the trigger. And how you decide to live your life is going to determine whether that trigger gets pulled or not. So it is possible to increase the likelihood of living to average life expectancy and beyond in one piece, or otherwise age successfully. In order to do that, you have to, one, learn about those lifestyle and behaviors, diet and lifestyle behaviors that are deleterious to your health and those that promote your health. You don't want to be doing things, committing nutritional lifestyle and sins that accelerate aging, amplify disease, and advance your death. You don't want to do that. So there's 2 models of aging that exist, at least 2, and I've written about this. There's the graceful aging model. I don't like it. I think aging gracefully I'll tell you why. The graceful aging model promotes a bystander approach to aging. And it places too much emphasis on your genetics. And it lulls people into believing that their genes will carry the day or end the day. And not being sick during old age is just genetic good luck. You've heard people say, well, isn't Martha, she's just aging so gracefully. What does that mean? What do you mean she's aging gracefully? Doesn't look bad? What? She's able to walk? What are we talking about here? Successful aging model is a different model. It's a more that graceful aging model is reactive. You're just sort of letting aging do its thing, right? And move you along. Successful aging is proactive. It's proactive prevention and participation in staying healthy. In other words, you're involved in the process. You're not a bystander. And you have personal responsibility for your health. Those two models are very different. Successful aging model is a more optimistic model because it allows you to do things that will get you to a better place. And maybe live a few years longer, maybe have better quality of life in the more deeper part of the life cycle. You want to live a long life with quality of life. And so I'm an advocate of the successful aging model. It just, to me, seems to make eminently more sense. And if there are many different definitions of it, I could give you a score of them. One early definition of successful aging with these two researchers named Rowe and Kahn, and they said successful aging is the ability to maintain three key behaviors, they said, or characteristics: low risk of disease and disease-related disability, high mental and physical function, and active engagement in life. That was a useful definition. That was a while back. That was back in 1997 when they offered that definition in their book and articles. It's been criticized, and it's been, but I thought it was a good start. And because successful aging includes much more than that. That was one of the criticisms. Didn't cover all the bases. But, yeah, you do want to avoid disease. You want to diminish the risk of disease and disease-related disability. Yes, you want to have your cognitive faculties, and yes, you want to be actively engaged in life. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that.
What?
I have the health question for you. I gave you the answer. Who was the person? Let me find the quote for you. Who said this? Who is it? Who's attributed to this quote or associated with this quote? The fact is that when I come to think it over, I find that there are 4 reasons for old age being thought unhappy. First, that it withdraws us from active employments. Second, that it enfeebles the body. Third, that it deprives us of nearly all physical pleasures. And fourth, that it is the next step to death. Who said that? Was it the U.S. Surgeon General? Was it Dr. Mehmet Oz, Jack LaLanne, or Cicero? Who said that? Who can we attribute that quote to? The U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Mehmet Oz, that you see on TV, Jack LaLanne, who was pretty remarkable in his own right, or Cicero, the Roman philosopher, poet, rhetorician. You have the right answer. You want a $25 supplement gift card.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK.
Do you happen to know, Gary, who the person was, and do you know what age the person lived to? The oldest recorded human. You happen to know? I'll give you a hint. It was a woman. I'll give you another hint. She lived in France.
I want to say she lived to be like 121.
You're close. She lived for 122 years, 5 months, and 14 days. Her name was Jeanne Calment. She was born in 1875. She's the oldest recorded human. Now, I said recorded. Now, there may be somebody walking around who lived longer, and we don't know. They could be living in some remote, who knows where. At her 120th birthday party, it was reported, they had journalists there, and everybody was reporting it, right, and they're all excited. This one journalist said to her, "Well, I guess I'll see you next year," he said to her. And she instantly shot back, quote, "I don't see why not. You look to be in pretty good health to me," close quote. That's probably a testament to, part of why she lived so long. She had the right attitude. She lived 122 years, 5 months, and 14 days. Reported that there was nothing extraordinary about her diet. Some say she even smoked. And I guess she liked some wine from time to time, too. And I'm sure the French cheese was not off her menu. Let's go to New Bern. Have you ever been called from New Bern before? We have? New Bern, Alabama. Luke lives there. Luke, welcome to the show. That's a great name. Hi, Luke. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Sure is.
What are you doing today? What's going on down there?
I'm retired, and I'm looking through my to-do list to see what I'm not going to do today.
What I'm not going to do today. Now, I dig that. I understand. Well, we're glad that you listen to the show.
Yes, sir.
That makes me happy that you do. Who said that long quote that I gave you about aging, which is a pretty grim description of aging? Was it Dr. Oz? Was it the Surgeon General? Was it Jack LaLanne or Cicero, the famous Roman philosopher and rhetorician?
Cicero.
It was Cicero.
Yeah.
He lived over a couple thousand years ago, and that's how he was thinking about it. You know what? I think a lot of people think of aging that way, which is pretty grim. You don't think of it that way, do you?
No, I don't. I kind of take one day at a time, but I don't think about it as you just mentioned.
What do you like to do?
Whatever comes up on my list. I try to not keep anything on my mind, so that's why I looked at my 1,000 things to do, and I just get up each morning and look at what I'm going to do.
Do you have a good?
I just do the next thing.
Do you have a good social? You have a lot of friends and family around, or are you by yourself?
I have a few friends. I don't have a lot of friends. I have a few friends. My lifestyle would bore the next person to death, but I just love it. Love the way I live.
You do. And what do you like? You enjoy your life, huh?
I enjoy my life, but it would bore somebody. It would bore the next person to death.
Why do you think it would bore them? Because it's not filled with a lot of flash and bang? Is that why?
That's it. They don't have my life. Don't have all the bells and whistles, but it pleases me.
Steady, yeah. And you do you cherish each moment, or do you embrace it?
I embrace it to the highest. I mean, I really do. I really do.
How did you get to think like that?
Well, I was driven to that because I would be stressed when I have 10 things on my mind to do, and knowing that I can't do but one at a time. So I've come to realize that I only think about in my mind, soul, body, and think about just that one thing. And when I finish that one thing, I can mark it off, and I feel good about marking it off. Then I look at the next thing. I'm not stressed at all because I don't have 10 things on my mind. I have one thing on my mind.
See that?
Live in a moment.
He lives in the moment. That's called living mindfully, Luke. Did you learn these things from your mom and dad, or did you come on it on your own?
I come on them by experience. You know, I used to want to do everything, and I found out I just couldn't do everything, and I just found myself being stressed. It wasn't until I just come to realize that I can't do all these things. So why don't I just look on my to-do list and just pick one of them and do that? And then when I finish that, do the next.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 60. I'll be 66 April 25th of this month.
All right. Well, I have a birthday this month, too, on April 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we'll celebrate our birthday. Well, thank you for sharing your little bit about yourself. I appreciate that. It's nice for other people to hear, you know.
Yeah.
We need to talk to one another and embrace one another, don't you think?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I have friends that I can sit down and talk friends, but like I say, since I'm so odd, I don't have many friends, and there's only two friends.
You don't sound that odd to me, man.
Well,
you sound okay to me, and thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for talking with me and others on the air today. We appreciate it, and you can call me anytime you want, man. Thank you for listening and watching, too. Love you. See you tomorrow. Your health is your wealth.